So did he say we could remove this?
Okay, everybody, welcome to the student engagement training. Thank you so much for coming out to the PLC, and I'm really glad you guys decided to hang with me today. Okay, student engagement in the classroom. That's what we're going to be talking about today. How can we improve our student engagement? How can we increase student talk in our classrooms? Now, right now, all you're going to do is you're going to do the do now. You guys can read the same way we tell our students. You can read. I'm not going to read for you. You guys have 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3, go. You guys have 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. One minute and 25 seconds. Guys have about 30 seconds left. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, in a class where only 12 out of 20 students are actively participating, how would you modify your teaching approach or instruction to involve the other 8 students? In a class where 12 out of 20 students are actively participating, how would you modify your teaching approach to involve the remaining 8 students? Go ahead.
So I'll say something that's worked for me in the past is having some of my students partner with other students, and then after they've had some time and experience with those students, I'll rotate them to like a small group time.
Ooh.
So trying 2 different things, for having some peer support, and then also having some time with a small group with me. Because there could be some things they stumble across that they may not want to ask right away initially. So those 2 transitions I think can help.
I love that. Peer support and small group instruction. Those are both excellent things. Anybody else?
One of the most basic things we can do is remind students of an expectation. Like, I expect you to participate in class. I expect you to get started. But also you can use positive reinforcements by thanking the students who are already following your expectations.
I love both of those things. Reminding students of the expectations and positive reinforcement. One of the things that we did in the district that I came from was we used restorative practices, which goes hand in hand with positive reinforcements. So that actually definitely works. Okay, today's goal. What we're doing today is teachers will be able to use discussions and activities to build connections with their students and improve student engagement. What we're doing today is improving student engagement. All right, what strategies or activities are you currently using to engage students and build connections? And how effective do you think they are? Go ahead and turn and talk. 1, 2, 3, go.
Great one, turn and talk. I think it does work.
Yeah. How many times in a lesson do you have a turn and talk?
3.
3? I mean, yeah, it's about the same for me. Having lots of opportunities to discuss, it opens up the floor for them.
I feel like just trying just different MRI strategies, just trying to see which ones get, which ones don't get.
I hear some really good discussion. I heard you guys saying things like turn and talk. The same way I said turn and talk, the turn and talk works for your kids. And then I like what Mr. Espinosa said when he said just figuring out which MRS strategies to use and when. We're going to talk about that actually a little later in the presentation. So keep that in mind. All right, student engagement. What is student engagement? What is student engagement? When you think of student engagement, what do you think about?
I think all students actively engaged, all students participating, reading, writing, talking.
All students reading, writing, speaking. Anybody else? Are y'all all on the same page with that?
Are all students interested in what the teacher is teaching, right? And listening, learning from it?
Students being interested. Students listening and learning actively. Okay, these are all excellent ways to describe student engagement. Student engagement is the level of interest, attention, and motivation a student shows while learning. What are some specific signs that indicate a student is fully engaged in the learning environment? And how can these signs guide a teacher's approach to the lesson planning? You guys can go ahead and write that down. This is going to be an ink pair share. Go ahead and write this down. What are specific signs that indicate a student is fully engaged in learning? And how can these signs guide a teacher's approach to lesson planning? Go ahead and write.
We have our answer. Do you want us to tell you, or do you want us to
Share with each other, right?
It's an ink pair share, so you guys can go ahead and share with each other. You guys can pair and share with each other.
I notice when my students are eye contact with me as I'm teaching, I actually notice those that are looking at me, I'm like, they must be engaged.
So I'll say it's the formal and informal data that you receive, like just when you do the aggressive monitoring, or just kind of you get a feel for the room, how many students are participating, kind of get an idea of how many overall percentages, and then just the assessment overall, like, what the scores are. So the data is going to be, going to drive the overall student achievement.
I mean, they don't teach you this in teacher school, but when the students are cracking jokes and making side comments and they're tangentially related to the lesson, that's a sign that they're at least engaging in the material.
I actually love all of those answers. Y'all are on it today, okay? come up for the teachers that are fully engaged today? Okay, student disengagement. How many of us struggle with that one kid that is just disengaged, right? Okay, what is student disengagement? What does that look like? What is student disengagement? When you think of student disengagement, what do you think of?
The student probably has their head down.
Heads down. What else do you think of?
Poor attendance.
Huh?
Poor attendance.
Poor attendance.
Yeah.
What else do you guys think of?
Opting out.
Opting out. So, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. The first thing I thought about was cell phones. But yes, you guys are all correct. Student disengagement, it is opting out. It's not showing up. It is, what'd you say?
With their heads down.
Putting your head down. Like you're not paying attention. That is student disengagement. Student disengagement is when a student is no longer focused or interested in the material being taught. They've clocked out. What factors do you think contribute to a student losing focus or interest during a lesson? And how could you adjust your instruction in that moment to re-engage them effectively? We're gonna do another ink pair share. I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and write about it. I'm gonna give you guys a minute and a half to just write. We're just writing. Okay, go ahead and pair and share. What factors do you think contribute to a student losing focus and interest during the lesson? Let's start there.
So I think ultimately it comes back to the rapport that you have with your students. If a student trusts you, believes that you get the job done, then they're willing to work with you. For me, it's relationships. You know, if they're willing to be there and listen to you, then you have a chance. So.
I love that. Respect and rapport.
I would love this phrase. There's no buy-in from the student. They don't see what they can get out of the lesson.
Oh, there's no buy-in from the students if they don't see what they can get out of the lesson. Going back to what Espinosa said, one of the phrases that everybody thinks is corny now, but I learned it a long time ago, is no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So really, if the kids think that they're getting something out of it, and you show them that they're getting something out of it, they will stay engaged. If you can build a relationship with them and they know that you care about them as an individual, they're going to work for you. This is true. Expectations. in your opinion, what are some expectations that you should have in your classroom that will encourage student engagement? One of the things Mr. Wallace said earlier was, in order for students to be engaged, you must set clear expectations. So, what are some expectations that you should have in your classroom that will encourage student engagement? Go ahead and turn and talk.
So, I'll say, just the overall structure, like what do you want students to like what their role is, like what their involvement is, what your expectations as a teacher, what are you hoping to receive from those students on a regular basis? Like, do you want them just to sit or respond, or do they have an active role that's equal to everybody?
I like that.
You gotta establish that you will not opt out from August all the way till May.
From the beginning, how you start is how you finish. That's something my grandma told me a long time ago. If you start the school year allowing students to opt out, that's what they will do.
Every day.
Anything else? No? Okay. Here are some expectations that I went ahead and I gave you guys, things that you guys probably already had. Be engaged during class. We're going to stay focused. We're going to participate actively. We're going to contribute to discussions and activities. That does not mean I'm here, I'm not on my phone, I'm looking at you, but every time you say talk, this is me. Right? We're participating. If I say whiteboard, everybody's whiteboard should go up. Number 2, 100% participation required. Guys, I know little Johnny don't feel like it today. Little Johnny just not in the mood, but are we going to let little Johnny slide? We can't, because if we let little Johnny slide, guess what's going to happen when he goes to his next class? Oh, Miss Johnson let me do, so why you got it? And now little Johnny has a whole back and forth where he ends up in SRC because I let little Johnny slide first period. So he thinks he's supposed to slip and slide like the early 2000s the rest of the day. Okay? Respect is key. That is an expectation that we should all have in our classrooms. Respect is due to a dog. Show respect to your peers. Show respect to your educators. Show respect to the classroom by listening actively, being supportive, maintaining a positive attitude. How many times have we talked to our kids and then all we get is this face?
None, because my class has been unacceptable since day one.
Okay, none, because in Mr. Wallace's class it's unacceptable since day one. And he said what he said. He's standing on business. We have to stand on business. Follow the teacher's lead. Now, y'all, we have to do as I do, not as I say. We have to model the same behavior that we want our students to be participating in. All right, we have to model the same behavior that we want our students to be doing, okay? We cannot just do as I say, not as I know. If we want positivity, we have to come in the classroom with positivity. If we want participation, we have to give them that energy that we want them to give us. One of the things that I always do is I say, this is the voice level, this is the expectation. Everybody is